That need to be done.
All right, so it's started, all right?
That's my camera, right? I don't know. I might. I don't know who that was calling me.
I guess we'll wait for everybody to come in real quick. Today I got this is my tamarind juice today. This is tamarind, agave, and some lime. As you guys already know, tamarind is a very, very healthy type of juice. So every time you see me on live, I'll probably be drinking something real, real healthy that's good for you. So this is tamarind juice right here. All right.
Oh yeah, I need to send this out some. Let me see where it's at.
Yeah, send it out.
Oh, okay, I got it. I see. I need to put that in the grizzle. And my hat done grew so much I can't even put the Noopooh hat on no more.
You gotta get a bigger one.
Yeah, you put part 2 on this?
Yeah, I put part 2 at the end of the description if you look at the bottom. Let me get the first thing set up real quick. Y'all gonna love today's show, I'm telling you. Y'all gonna love today's show because this show ain't no joke today.
The last one wasn't no joke. Just
wait till you see this one. This one, they y'all heads gonna be blown all the way back.
Yeah, since you rocking the 9 ball, I had to go and pull out my 9 symbol.
Let me see.
Can you see it?
Yeah. You gotta lift it up. Yeah. Nice.
I'm gonna get it revolved, get it rounded up.
Mm-hmm.
By the time people get finished, she's gonna have tendonitis. Hands ain't gonna be working. She's gonna be in there trying to paint like this. I can't type no more.
Yo, so, she working on something that's powerful right now.
Mm-hmm.
And when y'all see that what's coming up, especially with I forgot to bring the commercial stuff out so I could give y'all a little commercial before we get started. So give me 1 second.
Yeah, bring the socks and all that good stuff. So yeah, everybody, we just trying to usually we do this on the weekend, but because the last show was great, I had a little time today from work, and I hit A-Noot up. I said, you might as well go ahead and see if we can get another part 2 out real quick before he goes off and do what he got to do. So I think that'll be good. And then I'm gonna be dropping a video after this one, which is going to which it'll be, both of these gonna be on my page, and it's gonna go into the Nuwaubians gay flag.
Mm.
So when y'all get a chance, you know, check that out because it's very interesting to say the least. I see the internet been on fire the last couple of days, many different topics, but it's time for our people to start focusing on getting their mind right before we can become unified. Because really the reason we're not unified is because we are still repeating the same thing, looking for a different result. Anybody that keeps repeating, it doesn't matter what you believe in, we still need to come together. That statement needs to be reworked because you got a lot of people believe in different things. You can't assume because everybody you talking to agrees that Black people need to come together. But when you say anything, it doesn't matter what you believe in, you have to really be more specific. And you need to know that number one, believing in anything is religion. And you can believe anything that doesn't make it true. You could believe that Black Lightning is real, or Superman, or you know, Black Panther. These people, even in that, just using it as an example, you have people have basically, like I said, comic books is just another form of religion. You got people that go to what, Comic-Con, and they dress up in that stuff in the apparel of all of these fictitious individuals. I mean, to the T. I mean, the Star Wars, when the Star Wars movie come out, they dress the whole way. They dress all the way up. So that's showing you what belief does. So we need to get away from religion and any different forms of religion, because when you're dealing with different forms of religion, it just causes us to, you know, lose touch with reality. So go ahead, Ken. I see you done came in with your thing. Do your thing.
Close that door for me, please. Yeah. True peace, everybody. All right, so we got the Pitch Nova socks, as you guys can see. It's on sale on the website right now, noopoohnoon.com, Noopone. Go order you a pair. These the pair that's out right now. Also the low cut ones. We got low cut in men's and women's low cut. Within the next week, we're gonna have the women above the knee one. These stretch, so they go to the thighs. So in about the next week, we should have the thigh high ones and children's socks. By the way, we got the children's ones coming. So the whole family gonna be rocking the red, black, and green with the green on the inside. You understand? So make sure you support the business. I wanted to bring in and show you guys some of the samples that I also have made as well. Like this one here. These are called the Francis Cress Welson's ones. As you can see, it's made in the same color scheme as the ISIS paper book. We also got the symbol for ISIS on the front, but as you can see, I revolved it and put the Noop symbol in the top half circle, in the semicircle, so that we can revolve it, because that's what we need to do. We need to revolve the guards so that they can start working in our favor. And as you can see, you got the red, black, and green RBG flag on the bottom. So these are Francis Cress Welson's ones here. I got those. I don't have them yet. When you guys start supporting these red, black, and green ones, then I can start producing more socks for our ancestors. So these red, black, and green ones are dedicated to Marcus Garvey and Afro Unu, being the pillars of the African race, because those two brought science and the other one brought liberation. Well, they both brought liberation, but Marcus Garvey was able to unite the most Africans without social media. You understand what I'm saying? So I made sure that I gave him and Afro Unu their due justice by dedicating these socks to them. All right. So, you know, Francis Cress Welson, I got, what you call it? I got a brown pair. This actually looks more like the book. You know what I'm saying? And it got the what you call it? the ISIS image on the inside as well, just like these socks right here. All right. Let me see. One of the people that are very dear to me, I dedicated some socks to him, and that's Dr. Jeffries. So I dedicated these socks to him. Some light blue and white. He told me that his significant colors are light blue and white. So I made sure that I got, you know, so dedicated some socks to Dr. Leonard Jeffries. I think November 11th or November 9th, we have an event that I'll be vending at. So I'm going to present these to him in front of the crowd and, you know, let him know we're proud of his contributions to the African community and the African race in general. All right. So the predominantly blue ones are dedicated to him, and the predominantly white ones is dedicated to his wife, Dr. Rosalind Jeffries. If you guys think Dr. Leonard Jeffries is powerful, Dr. Rosalind Jeffries is even more powerful as well, if not as powerful as her husband. You understand what I'm saying? They've been together about 53 years. He's 81. I mean, he's 82 and she's 82 as well. So make sure that, you know, when these drop, you guys come and support it. All right. Good?
Yeah, I'm good.
Good. So we also got the low top ones, if you guys see right here. I got a bunch of them. You know, I'm just going to be running through them real quick. White and red, red and white, you know.
Nice meeting you.
Nice meeting you too. Take care, all right?
You too, honey.
We also have white and red.
Nice.
Red and white.
Mm-hmm.
You understand? So I'm just giving you guys, these are just samples. When you guys start supporting the brand and buying these red, black, and green ones, and these sell out, guaranteed to get these in stock. These are just samples. And we got a lot more samples that we're working on as well. There's more colors, but I don't want to saturate the whole show. See, I got some gray, navy blue, and red ones. This ain't particularly dedicated to nobody yet. I haven't thought about it yet, but once I get the significant colors scheme intact and who I'm going to dedicate it to, I'll definitely dedicate these to someone. But each one of these socks will be dedicated to an ancestor. So that's all I'm gonna do for now. I got these socks all over the place. You know, so support the brand. But we starting with the soul first. Since everybody love to use the word soul. So we starting with the soul first, all right? So that's our little commercial / advertisement of the some of the business products we have. Oh, look at the shirt that I'm wearing. You can see the shirt that I'm wearing. These gonna come too. Once you support the socks, these are gonna come too. As you can see, it says, you know, Africa is wherever the African is in or her right mind. All right. And on the shirt, it says an African born on any part of the planet, Gaia, which is Earth, is still an African by origin and by blood lineage. So no matter, and this is actually a fitting t-shirt for this topic because number one, a lot of people don't know that we originated in Africa. And this is what this whole segment is about. And this is what will be proven in part 2, and it probably will be a part 3 because there's some things that need to be broken down further. But this particular topic here will be going deeper into what we already started from the last segment. But yeah, every African that's born on any part of this planet with kinky hair is still an African by origin, not by birth, by origin, because where you're born is much different than where you originated from. And we have a lot of people in the so-called conscious community that are advocating that we come from America, or we originated in America, but there's no scientific proof to back these things. And today will be some overwhelming evidence proving that there's only 2 places on this planet that can possibly birth these 2 human races. These two wombs for the planet, because it's important for us to understand that the planet has a womb, and not only a womb, 2 wombs. All right, 2 places in which the birth of human races or races of people can be born. All right, and in this segment we will be proving that to be true. So without further ado, my name is A-Noot, Boonoo, Noopooh, and I represent the bone marrow of the African, Ethiopian, kinky head, whatever you want to call it, race. And my job is to spread information for the purpose of liberation for our people and for the planet Earth in general. So it's not just for African people, it's also for, other races of people as well, whether they be white, Indian, or whatever, Chinese, Asian, whatever you guys want to call the other races. That's none of my concern. My concern is that everyone can be liberated. So, Tarnoon, you want to introduce yourself as well? Tarnoon.
Yeah. Yes, I am Tar Kenu Noopooh, and I represent the bladder. And for those who don't understand why we keep saying that, that's the actual proper body part for what they call the Capricorn, which is the bladder organ. And you need to definitely get a hold of the Nodiac and watch some of the Nodiac videos that A-Noot and myself have put out, since he actually put brought the Nodiac to color and life, and has did an extensive amount of information on it. A book should be following when the time permits, so we can make that transition. And like he said, the book and information is for all oppressed peoples, especially the Ethiopian race or the African race, which we find ourselves at the bottom of the totem pole. So that's what we're trying to do, spread liberation information, because without it, we will still be clamoring and not being able to get out of this, as they say, crabs in the barrel mentality. So it's on you, Ken. You say you got to like 2 something. We got to make it happen.
All right. So definitely we're going to make this happen. We're going to make this happen. We're going to make it fun. You know what I'm saying? So first order of business, let's go to the nature books, because we must always start with the source of the information. Can you see the nature books, Ken?
It looked like you got a screenshot of you over the picture.
Over the picture, myself? Hold
yeah.
on.
Okay, there it is. The picture of the planet again.
Picture of the planet. There we go. All right. So last time we left off, we were talking about the womb of the planet, and us being born in the not us, but our ancestors being born at Lake Victoria in Africa. And I was explaining to you guys that the planet has a womb, as you see in the nature books, right? And it has 2 wombs. If you look here, there's one womb in the 9 ether clay, and there's another womb in the 6 ether clay. So people are probably wondering, how in the world does the planet have 2 wombs? And sometimes, the only way that people will listen to information is if it's given by another source. So our job is to show you another source. not saying that the other source is validating this source, because Noon is primary information, meaning information that comes first. Anything that comes after it is just, you know, secondary information. So what you're looking at is just secondary information to back up the primary information that you're viewing. So Noon is the primary information. Any other information that you see us using will be secondary information, only to validate what was already been said. Okay, so we spoke about the womb of the planet, all right, being Lake Victoria in Africa, and that Lake Victoria sits on a part of the globe called the African Rift. All right, so we can go real quick to the African Rift. I'm going to pull that up. Give me 1 second. I had it pulled up, but let's see real quick. Let's go pull up the African Rift real quick. Promise you we're going to get to the meat and potatoes. Vegan ones, of course. All right. So the East African Rift is a continental rift zone in Africa. The East African Rift began developing around the onset of the Miocene, which is about 22 to 25 million years ago.
Hold on. Okay. You trying to share the screen? Because I don't see it.
You don't see the East African Rift?
No, hold on. Let me. Hold on. Okay, I think it's slow on my screen. All right, you good.
All right, so on the onset of the Miocene era is about 22 to 25 million years ago. In the past, it was considered to be part of a larger Great Rift Valley that extended north to Asia Minor. Rift is narrow, that is developing divergent tectonic plate boundaries, where the African plate is in the process of splitting into two tectonic plates called the Somali plate and the Nubian plate at the rate of 6 to 7 millimeters, or 0.24 to 0.28 inches annually. As extension continues, lithospheric rupture will occur within 0.24 to 0.28 inches annually. Echo. As extension continues, will occur. I had to mute that, Ken, because it's gonna confuse me. As extension continues, lithospheric rupture will occur in 10 million years. The Somali plate will break off and a new ocean basin will form. All right, so I'm not gonna read the whole thing, but let's keep in mind the East African Rift, right? So let's go to this part of the nature books, right? So this particular aspect is called the birth channel, right? If you look, there's the womb and then there's the birth channel. You see that? You see me pointing that out, Ken? The birth channel? Huh? I guess he must be doing something, but hopefully you guys see the birth channel. All right. So let's go to the first picture. Right. Where's the first picture? Let's get to that real quick. We're going to stop screen sharing so I don't. All right, hold on, y'all. Okay, there we go. There we go. So you guys see that? It's called the mantle plumes, right? So these plumes, right, start from the outer core at the bottom. And it's called the
mantle plumes.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah,
So
I
these
think I hear the
plumes,
echo again.
right, start from the
Yes, just mute it real quick. The I guess you got it on the YouTube too. But anyways, so the mantle plumes, that's what the birth channel is. They're called plumes, right? And these plumes start from the outer core, right, in a layer called the D layer, right? So that's all part of the womb. This CMB and the D layer, that's all going to be explained later. But these plumes shoot up through the mantles and they come up to the surface of the planet, right? So let's go look a little bit more into the plumes real quick and see what are mantle plumes, right? Matter of fact, I got another picture which will show you overwhelming evidence again of these birth channels that Afro-Unu was speaking about, right? So if you see here, Ken, you see that whole screen? Let me know if you see the whole screen of the inner core, outer core, lower mantle, upper mantle. You see that? Just shoot me a text just to let me know if you guys see it, because I can't tell if you guys see it or not. All right. So right now, you see the plumes shooting up from the core of the planet, from the outer core, right, where the mantle is, and coming out of Africa on one end and coming out of the Pacific Ocean on the other end. So the planet has the two wombs, and we're going to explain why they're wombs later on. But right now, I want you guys to see the channels and where the planet is giving off these energies, these lavas, all, and mind you, these things are thousands of miles into the ground. And that's why Afro-Unu was giving us just the top view. Let's go back again to where he was showing us there we go again. I'm gonna put it side by side. You guys see it? Oh, pressed on the wrong pick, but yeah, there you go.
There we go again. I'm gonna put it side by side.
You see it, Ken?
Damn. Yeah, I see it. Perfect.
So you got one plume. Well, they call it plume in this science. In our science, it's called the birth channel. You understand what I'm saying? So they gotta basically find names for these things. In nature science, it's just the birth channel. You have to call it what it is. And the birth channel goes from the outer core or the lower mantle into the African rib. If you see the pic on the left, it says Africa. The pic on the right says Africa, and the pic on the left tells you that's the Pacific Ocean. All right. Now remember, I told you guys in the last one that we were born from Africa, and the other races of people were born from the Indonesian islands. Let's see where the Indonesian islands are. We're going to end this real quick. All right. So I hope you guys are following so far. What you think about that so far, Ken?
Yeah, the pictures is showing them actual. And I mean, the drawings is great, and this is why I was saying earlier that the way Afro-Unu made sure he put enough in there, because if you look at the way he drew it, and he got ocean water on both sides, but you see one is the Pacific Ocean. You understand? The other one's the other. So you could tell if he put certain things in there. People, since York was the one that actually did the most stealing, he would have just took that and just made it even more of a mess. But it's a good thing Alfred Uno wrote it how he wrote it, because York made such a lie. And again, everything he kept saying is that mankind came from off-world experimentations or whatnot. But what you're showing is based on Alfred Uno's research that the Earth is the birthplace of the original man, which is the Ethiopian, which is us, who actually descended from the original gods and goddesses, and then the original man as far as straight hair beings for those who follow the Nation of Islam or the 5% teachings or just religion in general, because it's a different when you say man and original man, but we really call Tarkind, which will makes the distinction between mankind and Tarkind, which that's original would be us. But go ahead, Ken.
Yeah. So, all right. So I left off saying let's show where the Indonesian islands are.
Mm-hmm.
Right. So if you guys see this map, do you see where the Indonesian islands are?
Mm-hmm.
In the Pacific Ocean. All right. So these plumes come up in the Indonesian islands right here, and also right here where Lake Victoria is. All right. So right there is the evidence of where life on Earth, as far as human beings are concerned, originated. So
You know you took it off the screen, right?
yeah, I took it off for a second. Give me 1 second. So I want you guys to see that. All right. Then there's other things as well that need to be. Hold on. I'm gonna also give you guys something that's gonna blow your minds real quick. Give me 1 second. So it's so you guys can see. Hold on. This is when you learn in science, man. It's an amazing thing, especially learning it from something that you know. There we go. Ah, yes. All right. So I want to give you guys.
Yeah, I'm gonna throw some up after you, so they can have a better visual.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah. So not only do you have plumes, there's only 2 super plumes on the planet, and they're called. I'm gonna give it to you guys right now. Where are they? Ah, there we go. All right, so let's go straight to the meat and potatoes. I love Wikipedia. A lot of people hate on Wikipedia, but the way they organize their information is it's sweet. You see that, Ken? Super plumes. So let's read real quick. Large, low shear velocity provinces. That's what the super plumes are called, and that's what the wombs and their birth channels are called. In their science is called LLSVPs, which means large, low shear velocity provinces. are called LLVPs or super plumes, are characteristic structures of parts of the lowermost mantle, the region surrounding the outer core of the Earth. These provinces are characterized by slow shear wave velocities and were discovered by seismic tomography of the deep Earth. There are two main provinces, the African LLSVP and the what? Pacific LLSVP. Those are the two birthplaces. Both extend laterally for thousands of kilometers and possibly up to 1,000 kilometers vertically from the core mantle boundaries. The Pacific LLSVP has specific dimensions of 3,000 kilometers across and 300 meters high than the surrounding ocean floor and is situated over 4 hot spots that suggest multiple mantle plumes underneath. These zones represent around 8% of the volume of the mantle and 6% of the Earth. Other names for LLSVPs include superwells, thermochemical piles, keep that in mind, or hidden reservoirs. Some of these names, however, are more interpretive of the geodynamical or geochemical effects, while many questions remain about their nature. There's no more questions about their nature. We know what it is already now. We know that that's the birth channel of the womb of planet Earth. And according to nature science, planet Earth is in her what? Is in her menopause stage. So guess what? You know what's beauty about this? So when you use reason and you go back to the nature books, it tells you that Lake Victoria used to be a 9 lake, which means that when that lake opens up, it will no longer be water. It's gonna be fire. It's gonna be overflowing with hot volcanic mantle, where our ancestors were born in the 9 lake. All right, they were born in the fire. All right, so the lake, if you go back to the last video where I read Lake Victoria closes up and refills itself periodically, it's showing you and telling you that basically the lake dries up and turns into a fire lake, and that's why the Nile River is so important, because that river used to be a river of fire and lava and flows north and south with fire in it. And that's where our ancestors were born, in a fire lake of lava and mantle. All right. But you know, but they tell you that these particular SVPs, they shoot up and they cause, you know, the lava to come all the way out and they flow out onto the surface of the planet. Okay. So let's, you about to say something?
Yeah, I was. You finna add anything more with the fire lake and all that?
No. Go ahead.
All right, hold on. Just so they can understand what we was talking about.
Actually, you know, I could share this so they could see the animation. I love Wikipedia, man. Don't let nobody tell you Wikipedia, what you call it, ain't the truth. They give a lot of good information. Granted, you ain't gonna get 100%, always get the perfect, you know what I'm saying? But here's an animated version of this of the plumes in the planet. As you can see, do you see it rotating?
Mm-hmm.
So those are the plumes that attach to the planet and they come to the surface. That bigger one is the African one, and that smaller one, no, sorry, the bigger one is the Pacific one, and the smaller one is the African one. I'm bugging. The bigger one, sorry, is the African one, and the smaller one is the Pacific one, as you guys can see.
Hold on.
All right.
I'm trying to. Okay, hold on. All right.
So far, how you guys feeling? And how you you taking in the information?
When they line this up with the books, it becomes easier to digest.
Mm-hmm.
That's really the problem. I was trying to.
Huh?
I'm trying to find. I'm trying to get the right picture. Pull it. I'm trying to put. Okay. All right. Here we go. I'm gonna just share the screen real quick. I need you to find the smack with all of the races on it. I'm gonna just read some from here, and you can bring that up.
Okay, I'll look for that real quick for you.
All right. I'm gonna just bring this up real quick.
All right, I got it.
All right. So I'm gonna just read this real quick. So just to get him a good example, like you said, our ancestors came forth from the planet when it was in this fire form or whatever in the lake. And it says, listen to reason. Some people may think with so much blackness presented by the outer covering the skins of the African pygmy god races, where it's the contrast that keeps them from being dull looking. Being sun people, personification of the sun, their bodies shine and their face glow. Black outshines all colors anyway, because it is the source of perfection of all colors. On the images of the gods drawn in this topic, the writer left certain areas of the pictures white like the paper for contrast and to enable the viewer to discern the features of the gods better. The pyro pygmy had sun-red eyes which glowed like fire, and he and she were born 2 million years after the birth of the arrow pygmy and the 2 million years before the birth of the zeo pygmy. The features of the pygmy gods were basically similar except for their back and the side and the features. And so when you start going into the here's a picture. Here I think these are Zeo pygmy. Let me see if I can find that. The Ito pygmy. I think I'm going backwards. Okay, the Alvalor male, the Milo pygmy. I think I'm going backwards. I think the Neo pygmy, the Vaco pygmy. Okay, I think I'm going forward. So let me go back. Because these pictures that y'all looking at are just little drawings, but they had fire forms. So when Afro-Uno was drawing and putting this information in here, okay, here we go to pyro pygmy. And you know, pyro means fire. So it said the god pygmy shown in the paragraph is the pyro, which means fire, pygmy, who was born 2 million years after the arrow pygmy dealing with air, that's dealing with the ether. And you can see it says webbed hands, right? Ethereal electrodes, glowing eyes. This is the female at the bottom. And he just goes into showing you just the basic stuff like that. But go ahead and show them the actual
The races.
Yeah, on the circle.
All right.
Because eventually we're gonna go into what the pygmy gods are actually doing, because it gives you their names, but Afro-Uno left out a lot of stuff because he wanted us to reason on it. So here you can see the top half were the 9 pygmy gods that the 9 pygmy god races, male and female, at the top right, and you see Hydro, Geo, Arrow, Pyro, Zeo, Ito, Milo, Neo, and Vaco pygmy, and they give you a little bit of information in the books about what they represented, and they have hints and clues. But me and A-Noot knows exactly what they were doing and what their purposes was, because we know about the laws of the opposites. So we're gonna definitely get into that at a later time. But here it's just showing you that all of these here And if you look inside, Alpha Uno has the first three. He has what? Liquids with what? Fire. And that's the first three races here. The hydro, geo, aero. Then the next one is solids with 8 ether fire. And then you keep going to the last three is gases with 9 fire. And that's because the temperature of the planet is much, much hotter when our ancestors was here. It's just things turn different, where fire is more dominant in the top half versus water being dominant in the bottom half. So that's just something I just wanted to support what A-Noot was saying, and that the fact that the bottom that the lava and these fire and these things come out of the Lake Victoria at different times, and that's why that birth canal or that rift is connected all the way down to those the upper mantle and the lower mantle, or the outer and the inner, which is the 6 ether clay being on the outside that birthed the mankind races, and then the inner mantle or the 9 ether clay where our ancestors were known with the egg formula were actually embedded in the clay that's surrounded by the 6 ether clay, and that surrounds the membrane of Mother Goddess Earth. But go ahead, kid. That's all I wanted to just to add that in there so they can see that it's more to come as we move forward.
And on top of that, Alpha Uno told us that our ancestors sank into the earth, right? And I found it interesting when he said that they sank into the earth, and they became other beings as well. So I'm gonna just give a little secret into what's to come as well. And definitely, Kweepu, he definitely used that word metamorphose into other beings. Look at this. This is going to be very interesting. Real quick, I'm going to show you guys something real quick. I'll show you guys something real quick. I gotta end all these pages. I got all these pages open.
It's something beautiful too. I'm gonna show after you get through with that. Just something so they can see. I don't want them to lose the point.
One second, y'all. Okay, here we go.
16 minutes, Ken.
Trying to all right. I'm just trying to get you guys, just a quick little something real quick so you guys could see what's to come next, because there's going to be a part 3. I just got somewhere to go today. I got to go support Natasha's mental health lecture that she has in the Bronx, because we all know mental health is very important in this day and time. So let's do this. Here we go. All right. So there's something called crustal recycling. All right. It's a tectonic process by which the surface material from the lithosphere is recycled into the mantle by subduction, erosion, or delamination. The subducting slabs carry volatile compounds and water in the mantle, as well as crustal material with an isotopic signature different from that of primitive mantle. Identification of this crustal signature in mantle-derived rocks such as mid-ocean ridges, basalt, or kimberlites is proof of crustal recycling. All right, so they're telling you that some of the ocean's crust is it has a rebirthing process. It comes down through the lithosphere into the planet and recycles itself. But let me show you something even better. All right, so there's a process called delamination, right? Do you see that? Delamination geology.
Mhm.
All right. It says in geophysics, delamination refers to the loss and sinking, foundering of the portion of the lowermost lithosphere from the tectonic plate to which was attached. The outer portion of the Earth is divided into the upper lithosphere layer and the lower asthenosphere layer. The lithosphere layer is composed of two parts, an upper and the crustal lithosphere and lower, the mantle lithosphere. The crustal lithosphere is an unstoppable mechanical equilibrium because the underlying mantle lithosphere has a greater density than the asthenosphere below. The difference in densities can be explained by the thermal expansion, contraction, composition, and phase changes. Negative buoyancy of the lower continental crust and mantle lithosphere drive delamination. Delamination occurs when the lower continental crust and the mantle lithosphere break away from the upper continental crust. There are two conditions that need to be met in order for delamination to proceed. The lower lithosphere must be denser than the asthenosphere. The intrusion of the more buoyant asthenosphere making contact with the crust and replacing dense lower lithosphere must occur. All right. Basically, in other words, that this process is an unstoppable process. So our ancestors were not going to be able to survive this particular type of event that was occurring. So what A-Noot did through research was he found out that our ancestors, after they died, they sunk into the planet through a process called delamination. And then they sunk so far into the planet, they went into the mantle zone. And their structure got broken down and they came back as 6 ether beings. All right. They created us sexually, but with the other beings on the planet, they were created through the process of delamination and erosion and things of that nature. So these processes that you see, and you could read on more about it, but I don't have enough time today to really dive deep into it. But this is just another more proof rather that we do not come from America just based upon the super plumes. All right, the super plumes or the fallopian tube or the birth channel or whatever you guys want to call it, because there's only 2 places on the planet, as you can see from the LLSVPs. There's only the African LLSVP and the Pacific LLSVP. All right. So we're gonna get into like the formula, things like that at a different date. But I know you want to show something real quick, Ken, before we leave out.
Yes, I do. Actually.
Oh man, this is some good stuff. I had to get me 2 jars.
Like you said, they sunk into the earth, and that's something that they have to equal stand. So you know how me and you do. My job on one end is to take the religious or the pantheistic format and bring it up to par to explain what you just said. Now, this is proof that the ancients knew about this recycling, right? So when you're dealing with recycling, that means there's a motion occurring, right? Because there's a circulation of something going on. And as you said, they sunk down to the delamination, and which is the word, the etymology up, it goes into D and lamination, and it's from 1670. It's the action of beating into thin plate of action from laminate, meaning any layer of laminated substances. It's for meaning a process of manufacturing laminated process products, and it's from 1945. So there, the delamination is telling you, if you look the word up, that there's something being manufactured, which we know that the pygmy gods that passed on after they died or sunk to the earth, they were being changed into something else. That's basically what.
That's the metamorphose.
Right, metamorphose. Now watch this right. Bring this over real quick. Let me share my screen. Oh, da, 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 da. Okay, let me get this out of the way. This is very interesting, darlings. Very, very interesting, darlings. Let me see if I can.
I don't want to hear nothing about no out of America after this. Ain't no possible way.
Let them tell us it's all things. Let them tell us always that. Let me know when y'all can see the screen.
I can see it.
Hold on. All right, now let's go into Ta. And you see what they call Ta, right?
Ta, God of craftsmen.
Rebirth and creation.
Correct.
All right, now we finna go into that. Exactly what was taking place. Now watch how intelligent the ancients was. Because you got too much foolishness, these Negroians and pseudo clansmen are saying about where we came from and that the ancients didn't know. Now watch this. This is in tune right with them. Now watch this. Say Ta, Pete was the pre-dynastic Menepha, Hikupta, Memphis, god of craftsmen. Remember, craftsman is to make something, okay? Pottery and creation. The Egyptians believed that he was a god who created everything from artifacts to the world egg, right? So we know that the planet produces eggs. And we know that inside of an egg is something more, which is the yolk. And we know that the color of the yolk is what?
Yellow.
Right. And inside of the earth's core is what color?
It's yellow.
There you go. So this is showing you our ancestor was on it, right? To the other deities themselves. The opening of the mouth ceremony was believed to have been devised by him. He was a god of creation and rebirth. We know that they're using Ta in multiple layers because of how the way the information was distributed. But the nature books makes it clear. So we're just going to deal with that. I'm not going to go into the other part. Now watch this. Ta was usually depicted as a bearded, mummy-formed man wearing a close-fitting skull cap. Only his hands come out of his shroud, and he was usually shown holding a staff that incorporated the Djed pillar, which you already broke down what that meant when the Nodiac. That's another story. Y'all need to play catch up on that, the Djed pillar. The symbol, and there was the scepter. Now check this. The origin of Ta's name is unclear, though some believe it to mean opener or sculptor. As a god of craftsmen, the later is probably correct. He was a patron of the arts, protector of stone cutters. Look at the word stone, right? What's another word for stone?
Rocks, clay, rocks.
Right, there you go. Keep that in mind. The craftsman, the later is probably correct. He was a patron of the arts, protector of stone cutters, sculptors, blacksmiths. And you know, when you're dealing with a blacksmith, when they in there making that metal, what do they use when they forming that metal? You see what's in there with the metal?
Heat.
Heat, right? And they use that to what? Melt the iron, right? You there?
Yeah, I'm here.
All right, so we know that you know what it looks like in a blacksmith's work area. They have that big cauldron, and it's hot, and it looks like lava when they use that to melt that iron down. So now we're seeing that the blacksmith, we know that that's the planet. The planet is the blacksmith, and the planet is also called Ta in certain schools according to the Comedics. All right. Now it says architects, boat builders, artists, and craftsmen. His high priest was given the title Workuk Himam. Great leaders, priests were probably linked to the different crafts. It was believed that Ta invented masonry and that it was he who crafted the boats that the dead used to travel to the Duat. Here we go again. We already know that they sunk down, right? And traveled to the Duat, which is the underworld. In this case, it's the underworld or underneath planet. That's what it's talking about. They travel down there. This is a different kind of duat being used in this particular application scientifically, where it's in the same life as you. It's not that they died and then went somewhere else that you couldn't visually, but as far as mental, spiritual, and physical, but they did disappear from sight physically because they sunk to the earth. Then it goes, it was believed Ta created the heavens and the earth. This is what we talk about right here. And Ta created the heavens and the earth while Khnum fashioned the animals and people on his what?
Potter wheel.
There you go. That's what you were just talking about. That
wheel is if you look at the circle or the there's 2 potter wheels. There's a 6 ether clay potter wheel, and then there's a 9 ether clay potter wheel.
Right, and I showed them that again before we go there. Now, if you look at on the chart, like I said, you have it's a potter's wheel, which you know that's the clay. But also when you're using something to create, you're also using again you talking about craftsmen and all of that. You're dealing with what? You're dealing with metals, and also we know that the planet has metals in it.
Mm-hmm.
You have nickel, silicone. You got different types of elements that's in there. So, but go ahead. I just wanted to add that part. Oh yeah, before you showed it, I wanted to how important this was. If you look at this picture here, it's a picture that Lake Victoria, which is over there by Kenya, stretches directly across to Indonesia. They are the direct opposite to one another because Tarkan and mankind are opposite by nature as well. But you can see that the 2 birthplaces are right across from each other.
That's right.
So I'm gonna let you go ahead and drop that, but I just wanted them to understand that they were talking about. But yeah, let them see Khnum's potter's wheel, which is really 2. Like you said, the crustal recycling is what the Caucasian calls it, but the ancients called it Khnum's potter's wheel, which is really, it was 2.
Yep. And a potter's wheel always has what on it?
Clay.
Clay. There you go right here. 2 potter's wheel.
There you go. And the plumes is the heat.
And the lower mantle. This yellow core right here is usually what's spinning. And on the outside, that's where you got the mantle where they grafted up everything. So that's where, as you can see at the top, it's showing the rotation axis, all of that on the bottom too. So there you go. There you go.
So there's another mystery being solved, and so our people can start running around, joining these orders, spending their time and their money to get told nothing, because they can't upgrade it to what it is now. That's how you merge or marry the sciences with what they call a myth. That's not a myth. The ancients were scientists, like Afro-Unu said. Our ancestor was scientists, and we brought science to the world. That means, again, we talk about knowledge. Not what these Nawabians are trying to say, that our ancestors had laboratories and they was dealing with DNA and blood and all this old crap, like they was in some type of laboratory on Mars. This is foolishness. So we just wanted y'all to see that and be glad and get a hold of the books. Go to find9news.com and get the books, and go to Noopooh, NOPONOONE.com and get the start getting some shirts and the socks, get you a notary and download the books, because these books are authentic and been verified and proven. We're doing it every time we sit down with y'all with the help of Noopooh and Noon themselves, so y'all can be able to learn in peace and safety and start running around with these charlatans getting bit and then they're giving you nothing. So this is definitely showing y'all this is just a great show. This is the previous one out of the water, as far as just being able to see that Afro-Unu was on point. Go ahead, Ken.
No, it's I think it's amazing, and I think it's very, very. I think you guys should almost give Afro-Unu a side eye. Like, how did he know this? You know what I'm saying? And he knew this before they put this stuff out. If you go to any research study, they'll tell you they didn't start learning about plumes until the 80s. He put these books out the early 90s. He knew exactly where they was, where they were located, how they function, what they do, and there's still things that he has in those books that they still haven't figured out yet. You understand what I'm saying? So it's proving to you guys that Noon is primary information. Simple, plain and simple. Anything after that is secondary information because they don't even know that that's those plumes are the birth channel of the planet. Until when they figure that out, you would already have known it. All right. So that's why I'm trying to tell you that these plumes or whatever the case may be, or whatever you want to call it, was already identified by A-Noot as the birth channel or the fallopian tube. Actually, not the fallopian tube, because the reason why it wouldn't be the fallopian tube is because that's where the egg travel. The birth channel would be the vagina. It will be traveling through the vagina. The fallopian tube, I believe, is on top and is curled on top. And that's where the egg travels through and comes down through the birth channel. So it wouldn't be necessarily the what you call it, the fallopian tube. It'll be the vagina of the planet, right? So there you have it. You know what I'm saying? It's been given. The answer's it's already been answered since the early 90s. You guys got to really give a side eye to A-Noot, like, whoa, hold up. How did this man know this? And then he knew it before he published it because he had to write it. Then he had to publish it. So, you know, get those books, man. We had a true sage and liberator in our midst, known as A-Noot. He put these books in order. He knew what he was talking about, and every single live that we do, we just keep validating it more and more, more and more. So that's all I can say with this one. So, you know, be prepared for part 3. You know, part 3 gonna be a smoker. So my name is Boonoo. Go ahead.
Well, I'm sorry.
No, I was just saying, you know, my name is Boonoo Noopooh. You know, support the Pitching Over socks. Make sure you guys go cop a pair. You know, these are on sale right now on my website. So, you know, we got some amazing ones coming too. So I can't wait for the other samples to come in and the ladies pairs to come in, and then from there we're gonna be moving forward. But I know you have something to say.
Oh no, I was just I just wanted to just give a shout out to Noopooh and Noon and to A-Noot and Seapoo and Geepoo for the hard work and labor that they put in. And we do the same thing. That's why we go hard every day, because we know the value of the information and how it's important that our people need this. So every time we come here and drop this information, y'all need to really grab hold onto it and try to connect with what the information is saying. So you be able to go through life and you'll be able to see things that seem to be out of order, that they are in order, and that what y'all been looking for been here since 1967, 1968, 1971, 1973, 1993, 1995, 1996, and 2007. Those will be the books: the Bible interpretation, the 9 ball counts, 1 through 4. Are you searching for knowledge? Then read me the transcript, Introduction to the Nature books 1, 2, and 3. So our job now is just to put the information out there. That's all we're supposed to do now, and validate it and be creative and help people help themselves. So that is what I wanted to say. I wanted to give a shout out to my wife, Tanunet. I want to give a shout out to Queepoo. I want to give a shout out to Keepoo. I want to give a shout out to A-Noot. And all those who are listening and those who will find information and help themselves. True mental cosmic peace and war to Noopooh. I'm done.
All right. Yeah. True peace to everyone out there. I appreciate the audience for coming through and checking us out on another smoker. Definitely want to give a huge shout out to Afro Unu, Marcus Garvey, all our ancestors that paved the way, Noopooh and Noon, of course. You know, give a shout out to, you know, all the people that came in the building. Kweepu, I see Liv in there. That's Olivia, that's to the Core Foundation, that's Janelle, all these people that come through to support. I appreciate you guys. You understand? Like I said, support the socks and resurrect your soul. All right, peace. Peace.
True peace.